Hey everyone. So I wanted to continue with this theme of Bitcoin, and I want to specifically talk about volatility, because a lot of people feel as though Bitcoin is a risky asset because it's too volatile. Okay, you put your money in Bitcoin, it's going to swing up and down. How can that be a secure store of value? Okay, let me begin by saying Bitcoin is a nascent technology, and that means Bitcoin is very, very new. It's incredibly young in its development, and because it's young, it's a very small area of the market. It's a very small market cap. Now that doesn't disrespect its value proposition. Okay, there's a very big difference there. People think because it's small, it doesn't have any value. It actually has a lot of value, but the market hasn't recognized that value yet. So as a result, it's still very small, and that's fine. It's just going to take time to grow. I like to think of the tanker versus the dinghy. Okay, so you're in the ocean. This is a great example. You're in the ocean, and you've got this frigate. You've got this tanker. Okay, that represents, for example, the US dollar. It's a huge market cap. I mean, we're talking like trillions and trillions. I think it's 90 trillion. It's a 90 trillion market cap. I mean, if you understand the words market cap, or you can do your own research as to how to measure market cap and things like that. But basically, it represents a huge proportion of the market in the world. And then you've got something like Bitcoin, which is very new. It's very small. So I like to compare it to a dinghy in the ocean. Okay, so you've got a frigate, a tanker, and a dinghy. Okay, these are two very, very, there's a very sizable difference between these two things. And so when a huge wave comes, say a tsunami comes, the frigate is just going to break straight through it, right? Whereas the dinghy is going to go all over the place. So the volatility, the rapid rise and swings of something that's very, very small is going to get incredibly affected by that. Whereas obviously something that's, got longevity, or not longevity, but something that's got a lot of backing behind it, something that's got a lot of weight behind it because it's heavily invested in, is obviously going to ride that wave out. It's just going to break straight through those waves, So when you've got big investors coming into the space, we call those whales, and when they come into the space, they can topple a small dinghy, a small market cap, very easily, because obviously they've got much more liquidity. They can create these huge spikes up and down, and so that's essentially what has been creating the enormous volatility in Bitcoin. That, however, is changing, and it's changing rapidly. Because what's happening is not only is Bitcoin getting bigger, it's getting older. I mean, it's 12 years old now. Okay, like in terms of the US dollar, that's nothing, right? But year by year, I mean, month by month, in fact, day by day, we're seeing more and more people injecting liquidity into Bitcoin's market cap. We're actually reaching new all-time highs now. So the volatility is going to slowly reduce because the market cap's getting bigger for Bitcoin. Okay. That's really important to understand. Another really, really important thing to understand is the kind of investors that are investing in Bitcoin now are very different to the ones who were investing in Bitcoin before. Okay, the investors we had before were much more, they were much more retail, they were much more short term, they were much more like traders looking to make a quick buck, basically. Okay, because of that volatility being so extreme, traders love volatility. So they were able to make investments in Bitcoin and gain from that volatility. That was in the past. Okay, so now what we have is much more serious long-term investors investing in the space, and you can see this because it's all about institutional investment now. I mean, we've got hedge funds and endowments, like universities, family offices, public companies, private companies, massive scale investment. Governments, I mean, we know governments are investing in Bitcoin. What does that tell you? I mean, these are not short-term, gambling kind of investors. These are long-term, strategic, long horizon, long-term thinking investors who understand the value proposition of Bitcoin. I mean, this is incredibly important to understand that Bitcoin has changed from a cypherpunk experiment into a world-class asset, into a store of value that people are recognizing all over the world. And again, I'm going to keep saying this. You fix the money and you fix the world. And Bitcoin fixes this. Like, if you can, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching.